Alright guys, Thursday morning work. Round each number to the nearest 10 and 100. 93 to the nearest 10 rounds to 90, and to the nearest 100 rounds to 100. 265 rounds to 270, and it rounds up to 300 because of the 6 in the tens place. That follows the pattern 5 or more, raise the score. 973 rounds down to 970 and up to 1,000. Find the sum of 847 and 769. We're going to stack those, and the word sum shows us that we're going to add. 7 plus 9 is 16, carry the 1. 1 plus 4 is 5, plus 6 is 11, carry the 1. 1 plus 8 is 9, plus 7 is 16. So we have 1,616. To check it, we're going to go bottoms up. So minus 769. We can't do 6 minus 9. So we come next door, make that a 0. 6 becomes 16 minus 9 is 7. So 0 minus 6. So make that a 5. This becomes 10. Minus 6 is 4. And then we can't do 5 minus 7, but we can look at that as 15 minus 7 is 8. Let me change that back to green so you can see it. So you see that 847 matches our initial add-end at the top, which means that 1,616 is correct. Lindsay planted 6 tomato plants in her garden. Each tomato plant grew 7 tomatoes. How many tomatoes does Lindsay have altogether? So that means we don't have our total, but we have that keyword each. So we're going to be doing 6 times 7 equals 42. And if you're not sure, remember you can do 5 times 7 is 35, and then add another 7 to it. Find the quotient. Quotient means that we will divide. 33 divided by 3 is 11. 24 divided by 6 is 4. 48 divided by 12 is 4. And 63 divided by 7 is 9. Find the area of the rectangle. Be sure when you are finding the area, though, yesterday's was a good example of this. When I was checking in GoFormative yesterday afternoon, I saw some of these lines. Remember, if you do that, you're looking at the shape. Whoops, that was huge. You're looking at the shape that is like this, which is a 4-sided figure, but it's considered a trapezoid. And that we don't know how to find the area of a trapezoid right now. That's not something that we're going to learn in 3rd grade. So when you're cutting your shape into parts, you want to make sure that you're making 2 either squares or rectangles or things like that, because you know how to find those. So yesterday you would have used the 8. Gosh, I did it again. Sorry. You would have used the 8 right here and the 7. And then on this other rectangle, you would have used the 5 and the 3. So I also saw a couple, and if I saw it on yours, I commented on your GoFormative assignment also. But I saw a couple that were sliced like this. And guys, we really should not do that, because we could find this technically because we have the 7. But we would have to do some... No, we couldn't find that because we wouldn't know the exact amount of these 2 areas. We know that altogether this would equal 8, but we wouldn't know what this specific piece is on the left side. So make sure that when you're drawing your line to extend, you're extending a line that's already there. So you see how that line already exists? You just want to stretch it all the way down to the bottom instead of putting it in the middle like that one. Okay. So that was just a reminder that I wanted to be sure to tell you. This one today is a little bit, well, a lot of it easier. When you're finding the area, we're multiplying. So 4 times 10 is 40, and then centimeters squared. Are both shapes quadrilaterals? Why or why not? Be sure you are explaining, okay? Over on Tuesdays, where it said why or why not, there were a lot of GoFormative responses that just said no. And no, they're not, but you could say no because the shape on the right is a triangle, or you could say no, both shapes don't have 4 sides, or something like that. You have to explain it, though. So when you come over here, are both shapes quadrilaterals? We've got 1, 2, 3, 4 sides, and 1, 2, 3, 4 sides. So yes, and then we can do shorthand. We can just do BC. Both have 4 sides. So yes, you do have to have the because because that is what is answering the second part of your question. If you are not explaining it, and if that was on a test, then you would get that part wrong. So make sure that you're answering both questions, since there are 2 here for you. All right, next, partition or cut each shape into 8 equal pieces. So with the circle, we're going to start with our clock dot. We're going to start with, well, actually we don't have to. We're going to start with fourths. So go straight like that. And then to cut it into 8 pieces, we know that 4 times 2 is 8. So we want each of these to be cut into 2 pieces. So if we go like that, that makes it quick and easy, and like that. And I would suggest kind of polka dot and counting just to make sure. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay. All right, rectangles. Guys, I saw some of that going on for our 6th the other day on one of our assignments, and we need to rewind back to a couple of weeks ago when we cut out our shapes. If we cut this piece out, would it be the exact same as this piece? And the answer to that is no, because this right here is at a right angle. It's that square corner, and this yellow rectangle, this yellow rectangle right here doesn't have any square corners. And so these 2 shapes are both triangles, but they're not equal triangles. So when you're cutting them like that, it's a little bit more difficult on a rectangle. I would stick with straight up and down or straight side to side, vertical or horizontal lines. So 8 equal pieces, we could do 1, 2, oops, sorry, that was really crooked. And remember, we do not want to go at a diagonal. So you could either do this where you go like that. So that way you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Or you could do it like this, long and skinny. Draw 2 more. Sorry, I know that kind of curved a little bit. But you could count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And those are the same. Or we could take away that line and do it differently to where we have 4 this way, and then split those, and then count to make sure. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So I would always cut, sorry y'all. I would always cut and count, because if you don't count, you might actually have missed a slice and have a different number. All right, yesterday we divided the number line into 6 equal pieces. So we started with 0, 1, split it in half, and then did thirds. Today we needed to label 4 6 on the number line. On the Google Classroom assignment that we did the other day for enrichment, y'all did pretty well on placing the dot on your number line. But what I would suggest is just double checking as you jump, okay? So what I could do is use my finger just to tap 1, 2, 3, 4. But I think what happened is a lot of times when kids do that, they accidentally count that as 1. Even though it's labeled 0, they count it as 1. So what I would suggest is actually jump 1, jump 2, jump 3. And we know that the denominator is 6 because we cut it into 6 equal pieces. So this would be 1, which equals the 6 over 6. And then this would be 0 over 6. So 3, and then 4. So that would be where I put my dot, 4, 6. Okay? But yeah, I saw a lot that were misplaced just by 1. So they would have been over here at the 3, 6 spot instead of the 4, 6 spot. So then on the very last one, we're going to come down here. We labeled 0 and 1. We had 3 equal pieces, so we had 3 over 3. And if you want to label 2/3 on the number line, I again would jump. I know that's not quite even, but pretend with me. And 2, and then that would be where your dot goes, and 2/3. Okay. But especially for now, while we're still working on learning the process, I definitely would show the jumps and labeling your numerators right here inside the bubbles, so that way you don't get mixed up. So take a few minutes and just kind of review. We do not have a morning work quiz this Friday, but we will next Friday, and it will include skills from this week and skills from next week. So this is something that you may want to keep track of if you have the paper copy on the back of your homework, and just to review again before the end of next week.